you very much. Jai Shri Mataji. May Mother forgive me for any mistakes I do while talking about her. I have talked a few times before and been very disappointed when I listen to the recordings that I don't know, it's so difficult for me to do justice to anything Shri Mataji said or did. She was ever so loving, so forgiving, so it is impossible to describe for me. I don't have the words really, and it is not easy. At least that's how I feel. But we know that Shri Mataji asked us to record those memories we have of her, because that's one way we have of recording the human side of our life. This is something that Mother is not going to do for herself. It's our job to do, it's our duty. As you know, I'm sure you heard Shri Mataji said, we have a duty to record those things because she did so much for us. So being shy, not coming forward is not an option. It's actually a duty. And when Sri Mataji was listening to those books of Linda, you know, the eternal recollections of Sri Mataji. What's the title? Eternally inspiring recollections of Her Holiness Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi. This is the title of those books that Linda Williams was. She was the editor. And these books were being read to Sri Mataji by a family, by the yogis were there very close to Mother. Mother was listening to those books, you know, a lot. She liked them a lot, you know. And occasionally she said, "Oh, well, how about Mr. So and So and Mr. So and So? You know, haven't they come forward with some of their memories as well?" Or and another thing she said was, what about the things I said about William Blake to people? You know, I spoke so much about William Blake to people. Where are those stories? I don't see them. You know, they're not there. You know, make sure you collect those stories, the things I said about William Blake. So then Linda sent those requests for people. You know, all those people, Mother talked to them about William Blake. Please come forward to and share those stories. I did that. I shared some of those stories I could remember. Beg your pardon. At least I could still remember some of them, but there was some, I had difficulty writing them down. They were difficult to put in writing, maybe. I'll try to record those. I've been trying to put those on record as well, since they missed the recollection books that Linda was preparing. So I'll start with a very small little story, you know, that small recollection that happened there at Mother's house at Shri Camps. Saj Yogi came and said, look, I took all these photos of the last puja. It's the first time I'm taking photos of Mother at the puja, so can you leave this packet of photographs and show it to Mother? I had a quick look at the photos. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. This could be a lot of work for Mother to go through so many photos, and are you really sure? Because they were not. I thought they were not that special after all. But he insisted, all right, I'll put them on Mother's table. Let's see, Mother will decide. You know, there was another yogi also came, and he had a poster, like a poster or a leaflet of the paintings he had made. And his idea was, you know, let Mother choose one or two, maybe all. If Mother wants any painting, she can have, you know, I'll bring it to her, you know. So just let Mother see them, you know. I also felt, I'm not really sure, you know, because these paintings are a bit abstract. I don't know, you know. No, see, just let Mother see it, you know. All right, I'll put it on the table, then Mother will decide. And in those days, we used to sit. Sometimes Mother would say, "Come and see us," you know, come and see her at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., whatever time, and we used to arrive there and sit on the floor by the door of our apartment in the sitting room. We were sitting on the floor. Tremendous meditations. It was wonderful if you could arrive a few minutes before the time Shri Mataji told us to arrive. And this was quite a wonderful thing. But that day, Shri Mataji had told us the previous day, if you want to sit on the table, you know, the main table and those nice chairs, you know.
At the table or on
At
the
I
table?
meant at the table, not on the table. This is my English, bad English, you know. And so we sat at the table, waiting for mother. Mother came and she sat at the table with us. And so she saw those papers, the photographs were there, that poster, or let's say it's a kind of gallery advert for the gallery with the paintings the yogi had painted. They were there too. And Shri Mataji asked immediately, oh, so what have you got there, So, oh, these are photos, Mr. So-and-so, he did these photos. It's the first time he's taking photos of mother, they are not, he's not an expert and also special, mother had a look, In fact, even before mother arrived, we had already looked at those photos, all of us that were waiting for mother, and at the poster, and our little opinion, because we have very limited understanding. We felt these photos are nothing special because this Raj Yoga was very far away at the back, So mother looked so tiny, very tiny. All you could see was hundreds of thousands of people. It was a puja. So, it was not in a good location to take nice photos, But then at the end of the whole thing, he had 3 photos of mother, only 3. It was the first time he was doing it. So we were not expecting mother to, say much about that. So mother looked at the photos very, very fast. And then when it arrived at the 3 photos he had achieved in big size of mother, because he moved to the front maybe. And mother tore the pictures down, she broke the pictures into 4 and that's it, And we were laughing, we found that so unexpected that mother would do a thing like this, that it made us laugh, So mother knew what we were laughing, because we felt, okay, now that poster with the paintings, it's probably the same result, But mother knew that we were laughing, and all of us, mother was laughing too. And then she said, you can tell him the reason why I destroyed the 3 pictures is because I don't want him to meditate with pictures that are not right. They're not quite balanced. They're not, it's best for him to meditate with better photos. So on this occasion, I removed those 3 pictures from him, so he does not meditate on those. So, but otherwise, let him try, he will get better gradually, So, and she also said the reason I cut those pictures is because it's not me. I'm not actually there on those pictures, because the vibrations are not okay. See, so what to expect now? We're kind of expecting now, what is mother going to do with those paintings, photos of the paintings that are abstract paintings? They don't look that special to us. But to our surprise, mother said, oh, yes, I know who painted this. I know him. That's his style, And he always paints me, in fact. Really? But these are abstract things. And yes, this is me. Can't you see? This is me. No, we could not see. But mother, this is me. And this, oh, look, this is me as well, mother said. This is an abstract painting. So is this one. Oh, this is my vibrations. Mother knew everything about those paintings, although they're abstract. So it really showed us how very limited our understanding of art or understanding of vibrations. We really don't have any understanding of anything, really. Even on vibrations, we are such beginners, really, that none of us could get this right. And then in fact, Shri Mataji said, tell your wife to come here. I have some instructions for her. So Carol came. And mother said, go and purchase the 2 paintings from this Saj Yogi. In secret, he mustn't know it's me buying them, because if he thinks it's for me, we'll bring them for free straight away. And I believe it's very important she said, very important to sponsor the artists, to help them, to encourage them to do anything we can, and they will get better gradually. And but this is a person who is a good painter, really, and he always paints me, although it's abstract. But mother understood everything, of course. Mother knows everything. But even with vibrations, or we didn't use vibrations, and how wrong we got it. But it was a learning process for us. But we laughed. Actually, we laughed because it was unexpected to see mother tearing those photos until mother explained the reason. Then we understood. I'll move to another memory this time, which is very puzzling also to me, because meeting mother, we never know what's going to happen. On this occasion, mother sent a message, those who are free, anyone can come and help. We will shift some furniture, Mother was moving place. Mother was staying in a very prestigious place, because this was Buckingham Palace Road. So it's special place for diplomats, and mother had a there was an address there. Mother was also, CP had that address, you know, for business purposes. Mother had lots of furniture of hers there, and now she was removing that furniture somehow because she was going to India. And we went there for that purpose, but not many people came, in fact, to help with that furniture removal. There was only me and another yogi for that purpose. And I'm not that strong. That Saj yogi is not that big, really. So between the two of us, this would have been a bit hard because there was one certain piece of furniture so big, so big, so big. It's unbelievable, the size of that piece of furniture. Of course, it was much taller than the door. That would never go through the door. Any sensible person would tell you that. In fact, I remember discussing that with the other yogi. And they said, yes, I know, because I helped assembling this piece of furniture. You see, we may have to spend a long time disassembling if we want to get this out of the house, you know. And he was busy doing many other things. Mother was giving him instructions, you know. And I don't know what happened to my mind. Suddenly, looking at the furniture, that piece of furniture, suddenly to my eyes, it looked smaller suddenly. And I got the feeling this might actually go through the door, which is impossible because I know I had seen the piece of furniture. There is no way that piece of furniture can go through the door. It had been assembled inside the house, so big it was. But when I looked at it, it looked quite small suddenly. And so I felt a certain courage, and I'm going to drag this to the door and see if it goes through. You never know. And the furniture moved as if it has no weight, as if it's on wheels. I said, this is lucky. This furniture, so big, but it's on wheels, so easy. It just moved, went through the door outside of the flat. I couldn't believe my eyes. A minute ago, that was so big and then became small. It went through the door. And then it was so big, it's filling up the whole landing place there. What do you call that?
Corridor?
The corridor, you see. So the people living in those flats could not go upstairs or downstairs. It's all blocked. It's quite a problem to leave that big piece of furniture there. There was no space for anyone to circulate, to go up or down. And suddenly a man comes up the stairs. He looked really strong, you know, and with a big mustache, that type of mustache that is out of fashion nowadays. You know, so I thought maybe he's from a different country, you know, it must be this a place for diplomats, you know, such a strong woman. And with such a massive mustache, you know, it reminds me of those characters you see in these books of, you know, these Amarshitra Kathas, you know, stories of India. They show that type of person sometimes with big mustaches, you know. And from a little gap between the wall and the furniture, as if it's made of rubber or elastic, it passed through. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm blocking the way, you know, I don't know what to do. This is so big. I don't know if this can go down the stairs even because it's almost too big now to go down the stairs. And it tells me, don't worry about that, brother. There's no problem. It will go down. Don't worry, you know. And so he went upstairs. He squeezed from a gap that is impossible for a human person to go through it. Then comes another man, just like him. So I said, oh my God, must be his brother or twin even. It was just like him. And he did the same. He squeezed from that gap like he's a circus contortionist or God knows what. No problem, brother. Just leave it to us. It's okay, you know. And I said, this is really strange, but never mind. We see strange things whenever we do something for mother or with mother. You say, we're only recording the human side of mother's life, but even what is just the human side of mother's life is quite miraculous. Or it's very divine, really. Even the human side is a big surprise sometimes. A third man appeared just like the other two. I even told myself, could it be these are triplets or what? You know, they look the same. You know, big, massive mustache, very strong man. And he managed to squeeze from that hole as if he's made of rubber or God knows what, you know, elastic man. And then I felt this is really strange. You know what? This is just what I need. I'm going to ask them, would you be able to give me a hand to bring this stuff down, this big one? They said, of course, brother, you know, leave it to us. We'll do it, you know. You go home and take a break. We need to speak to our mother first. We'll go upstairs. And then when we're ready, maybe 15, 20 minutes, we'll come down. We'll take this for you. No, nothing to worry. We'll knock on your door and we'll help you take that down. Just don't worry. Just go and relax. So I did that, you know. I went inside, ate a sandwich, took a cup of tea, you know, in mother's flat, you know. Mother was there, but she was busy giving instructions to other people. Different things needed organizing, you know. And suddenly the yogi was there with me to do the furniture. He said, "What on earth did you do to the piece of furniture? Where is it gone? You can't take this out. It's impossible. Where did that go?" "Well, I don't know. It went through the door, but you can't push that. It's too heavy." "Well, luckily it was on wheels, so it went very nicely." "Excuse me, there are no wheels on that furniture. I assembled that too. There's no wheels whatsoever, but it just moved. "Yes, and where did you put it? What is it? I need to see this." So we opened the door, and the furniture was gone. He said, "Oh my God, they stole it." "Yes, you see, this is terrible. Now let's catch them." So we run down the stairs to catch them. They were gone, completely gone, and the furniture is gone too. And then we looked inside the van. Oh, they put it inside the van, and they went away. He said, "This only happens when we're doing things for Mother." It's many years after that, thinking about this small incident, I think maybe the Organas, God knows, lots of strange things can happen with Mother. So, yes, we are trying to record a little bit the human side of Mother, and it's not easy even to record those things and to do justice to Mother. It's extremely difficult, and I don't know. It's everything with Mother. There's always some surprise or something that we laugh a lot in the end, enjoy a lot, and learn a lot with Mother, because Mother will always share, very generously at the time. She shares her knowledge and teaches us so much and helps us with every detail. And she does that to each and everyone. It's quite extraordinary. There's no chance of ever doing justice to Mother by sharing memories, at least not for me. But we do our best, and try and record as many as we can remember. There was a certain incident that I can never forget, because this was Mother was organizing the possessions to pack them, to take them to India by boat, in a big container. And Mother suddenly was dealing with saris, and she had several piles of saris, she knew what she was doing. We were bringing them the bags of the suitcases and bags of clothes and saris, and Mother said, "Okay, this one this way, the other sari to this pile, the other one for that pile." And then some of her shoes were appearing, some shoes go to this box, and others go to another box, others to that cardboard box, She knew what she was doing. It was very interesting to see Mother in action, no confusion for Mother. And then suddenly came a big box, we didn't know what was on that box. And I said, "Oh, no, just not, put it to the side, That's too much, And so we put that box a little bit not so close to Mother. That was too strong. In fact, it was too cold. This is so cold, just not so close to me. But then another yogi came later and said, "Oh, what about this big box, Mother? What do you do this one? What you want?" "Okay, open it." And we opened the box. It was full of Mother's shoes. And it was like the Himalayas were there in that room, We felt so cool, so cool, so cool. In the middle of this confusion, we all went silent. We sat down and we went into meditation and closed our eyes. This was quite rare. And Mother even said, "Look at this silence, look at these vibrations." This was just a box of shoes of Shri Mataji. But my goodness, these were perhaps old shoes that Mother no longer wears, from the past. But they were there in that box, and it was unbelievable vibrations. It put us in meditation. We actually sat down. The silence was so strong, and we went into meditation, and Mother let us stay in that meditation for a while. So this was not expected. We were trying to help Mother sort out some of the material things. This is a bit mundane, people might say, but suddenly we're in meditation, and that experience is so deep of the vibrations that came from a box of Mother's shoes that still today I cannot forget this event of what a deep experience of vibrations, what a deep experience of meditation as well, and what a variety when you are doing things with Mother or have a chance to see Mother. So there was also a lady there helping, and this was a lady who, she was not doing so well in life, she had a problem. And a problem was that she had good qualifications, or she was studying university things, and she could get good jobs, but she could not keep the job because the boss would usually sack her in less than 5 days or a week, gone. she'd lose the job. So she thought she had a curse, what to do. So mother said, if you want, you can come and stay with me in my house, and we'll see how we can work on that. But this is typical of mother, the extent to which mother goes to help people. This lady, has a difficulty keeping a job, and mother said, come and live with me. We'll work on that problem. So we had also brought, a whole van full of furniture of mother a few days before to Shudi camps, and this lady was in charge, this lady that could not keep the jobs, And so mother asked her, well, can you find me this? Can you find me that? Did you bring this? You bring that? Oh, no, mother, that didn't come, So what came? Oh, this is here, this is that, this came, And mother says, but this is the exact opposite of what I told you to bring, remember? I told you actually, what to bring, what not to bring, and this is what you do, it's everything wrong, What a shame, because now these boys have to take all the stuff back in the van again and then bring another van with more stuff here. What the problem, So this girl was feeling a bit, she was kind of disappearing to the ground. She was feeling ashamed of doing this type of mistakes, So I don't know, I felt inspired to say something in her defense, and that's because she was not, she was just disappearing to the ground. She was feeling very, very shy, very ashamed. So I said, mother, the van was so full. There was nothing else we could have put on that van, And besides, we don't mind going back there and getting more stuff and getting the right stuff, And mother said, yes, I'm glad you said something in her defense. That's wonderful. I really like that, But Louis, you should know all the facts as well. Look at this. She can't keep a job, And the reason she can't keep a job is because she always does the opposite of whatever the instructions are. If the boss tells her to do something, she always does the opposite or does something else, She thinks that discretion is so developed already. But in fact, it's because she doesn't obey the instructions. I told her that many times. I'm trying to work on this point to help her. And on this occasion, I gave her 2 lists in writing, One list is the things to bring. Another list is the things of not to bring. And as you can see, that she did the absolute opposite. So we still have more work to do until she's ready to go to work, So I'm working on her. I'm trying to help her. So don't imagine that if I'm telling someone off is lack of love. In fact, it's because I love someone that I give a tell off sometimes, little tell off, But she was feeling, she was not able to take this criticism easily, in fact. And it looked like, oh my goodness, don't tell me now she's going to cry or something, So we're a little bit worried. We're looking at each other. Let's see what happens here. And another Sahaja comes and brings another pair of shoes to mother. Mother, what pile shall we put this one, And mother said, oh, no, those shoes are special. These are different, Actually, these are not my shoes, So they cannot go on any of those piles. The shoes are from Kalpana, and she left them behind. And the Sahaja said, oh, yeah, but they are very new. They're brand new. They look brand new. Yes, they are brand new. But, Kalpana left them behind. Because sometimes she leaves a few things behind for me to give to other people, in case someone needs, She left those for someone, But it's not easy to find someone for these shoes, Mother was holding now these shoes in her lap, like something very special, very precious. She said, look at these shoes. I mean, they're so ladylike, so decent, so, oh, Mother has such words. I remember she said, so discreet, so modest. So modest, so beautiful, so discreet, and so dignified and sophisticated. So, I'm trying to find someone I can give the shoes to, but also Kalpana wears size number 6, and this is quite hard, to find sometimes a lady with that tall that wears size 6, So, and then mother looks at her feet, this lady, mother had given a little tell off, She says, wait, your feet are exactly like my daughter's feet, You must be wearing a size 6, don't you? She said, yes, mother, I do wear a size 6. That's it, they're for you. Now she was laughing, now she was smiling. So mother avoided these, no tears after all. Everything ended up beautifully. So there was no problem. There was never any problem. Mother had such way to show our love with such intensity that we could all feel it. So mother prevented this situation to go a little, in case she cried or something. It ended up beautifully. She was smiling. She was very happy. Only mother can do these things so beautifully. There was a time I got the message that mother said, come and see me, there's something, but the person who gave the message didn't give the full message. He just told me to go and see mother, and it's a bit strange because it was Good Friday, and Good Friday is actually the day when Christ was crucified. So it's never a happy day, It seemed a bit strange to be told to go there, but wonderful thing to be invited, So I went there, and being Good Friday, mother was not quite the usual style. Not so happy, of course. Not so. It was more formal. It was a bit meditative mood, Not quite the same. And mother was going in and out of meditation. She was on a settee, and sometimes I didn't know if mother was asleep, in fact, or awake, or in meditation. And she started talking about Christ. This was Good Friday, so I thought this is normal, And she spoke and spoke and spoke and spoke, and then she stopped and meditated or slept or rested, I don't know. And this went on for a long time, and she said so much about Christ. And then once or twice she told me, how can you sit there with your arms crossed doing nothing about it when Christ is being insulted, And then gradually understood what was going on. There was a film that had been released recently, and this was Easter is coming now, and the film was going to be was on, in fact. It was a film, I think it was called The Last Temptation of Christ. It was a very stupid film. According to Madi, it was a horrible film. It had no respect for Christ. And there was a certain insinuation that Christ had a romantic affair with Mary Magdalene. Can you imagine? Horrendous, But was so offended to hear this insult about Christ, she couldn't tolerate it. And she kept, and then she asked me now, really, do you sit there doing nothing about this when this is happening? You call yourself a Christian, you think you love Christ very much, and then what you do, these things happen in the country, no one does anything about it, And then she told me, can you read the last 2 paragraphs, please? That's when I realized, oh my God, I should have been writing this down, isn't it? Yes. Didn't they give you that message? No, mother, they never told me I was coming for this purpose to write down your talk, because usually you record, you don't write it, isn't it? Yes, but this is a letter for a newspaper, about this film. So never mind, not to worry, it's not important, It's not important at all, In fact, mother said, you know what? Go and get a piece of paper and write everything down. It's very easy. You just stay in meditation, write it all down. And 5 minutes before this happened, another person had entered the room. It was a very advanced Sahaj yogi, very well educated. His English is perfect. His knowledge of Sahaj, amazing. And he heard the last 5 minutes at least. So he said, all right, don't worry, Louis. At least I heard the last 5 minutes. Yes, but mother talked for more than half an hour already. See, she was there for an hour, but in between resting and meditating, mother must have talked for half an hour. Don't worry, mother said you can do it. So we got a piece of paper. As mother said, you try to stay in meditation. The other yogi wrote the last 5 minutes. I wrote the whole lot. And I can't believe everything came down, as if I could remember each and every word. And this was a tremendous lesson to see. We don't even believe these powers are there, And then the other Sahaj yogi looked very carefully at the grammar, punctuation, where to put the stops, where to do the paragraphs, We did our best, It looked wonderful. We felt, it looks like we managed to remember everything between the two of us, Mother somehow gave a tremendous power on that occasion. And then mother came back again because she was again going into meditation. She said, all right, don't worry about that. It's fine, because in the evening, Sir CP will, he promised me he's going to look into it and, rewrite it if necessary, So Sir CP is available to improve the English if necessary as well. So it's fine. And besides, I think you did a good job. Don't worry. And then she said, why don't you watch some TV now? So he put the TV on. And on the TV, it was some golf, you know, and we put it without sound because mother was either in meditation or asleep, you know. And then she dictated more, you know, and then we wrote a bit more, you know, and then the job was done. And this memory stayed with me forever because of being able to write down what mother said, word for word, you know. It's some powers of meditation we forget exist. I didn't have that type of memory at all. And later on, this story came in very handy because much later there was another film called Da Vinci Code. And the Da Vinci Code is a similar situation where the author is implying there is a kind of romantic relationship between Christ and Mary Magdalene, like that film, which mother protested so strongly. And she wrote the letter for the newspapers, but the letter was sent to the editors of several newspapers in England to influence them. So the editors know that, you know, what's right, what's wrong, at least. They may not publish the letter of Shri Mataji, but at least they will read it and they will know that this is wrong, you know. And now, much later, many years later, there is this Da Vinci Code film, you know. And there was a Saj Yogi who had written a lot about Saj Yogi, and he came to England to investigate this, to see is there any factual truth about this. Let's visit the places, visit the locations, see what is there available, you know. But then I told him, look, you know, what mother said about that film was incredible, you know. You cannot have even this type of thoughts about Christ and Mary Magdalene is a big, big insult. So although it's not easy to go and ask mother's opinion right now, because by now Shri Mataji was, she announced that she had retired a little bit from deciding everything, so people cannot go so easily and ask questions, you know. So, but I said, look, you know, if this has a lot in common with that film that mother wrote such a strong protest, you know. And he said, oh my goodness, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you share that memory? It would have saved me the trip. If I didn't meet you by accident, even, I might have, you know, written something wrong on this subject, you know. So this is a very important memory. Yes, it is important. However, even on Mother's Steps, Mother said exactly the same some years ago, even before that film came about Last Temptation of Christ, or whatever the name is. Mother had already put on her tapes, on her talks, that, you know, if we cannot conceive of a pure relationship between Christ and Mary Magdalene, this is a sign that we have a perverted mind. We have to understand that Christ is someone of such high standards of Dharma that if he needed to take a wife, he would, but he would marry, not an affair or a romantic liaison, nothing like that. Only the highest Dharma, because this is Christ, you know. So that knowledge came in handy that way. And then much later, another Sahaja wrote another story, which is an imitation of the Da Vinci Code. And the way he wrote it, although he was a Sahaja, he also would not have known this aspect of what Mother said, although it's on a tape of Mother, but you know, it's hard to listen to every tape. And so he wrote a kind of a story about a romantic, you know, novel between Christ and Mary Magdalene, you know. So when I read that book, I was horrified. Oh my goodness. So we could not go to Mother with these things, informing Mother. By now, Mother was officially, you know, like semi-retired from deciding everything. So there was at least a Sahaj committee, what was called the Sahaj Publications Committee, with very great Sahaj yogis in it, you know. So in general, I would not have even written an email about this, but because Mother gave me such warning, you know, what are you doing? Do you cross your arms and don't do anything about it when Christ is insulted? I felt, all right, I really cannot cross my arms this time. I have to write an email to that publications committee to request that they don't allow this book to be sold in Sahaj at the pujas. And so it happened. They did that, you know. So there you go. Any small memories of Mother, they don't seem sometimes essential, because even things Mother already said, they're on the tapes in any case. But that experience came in very handily, you know, for me, because it was able to help two Saj yogis, you know, to prevent a big mistake. And in fact, Even some people thought maybe this book should go and become a TEV play. TEV means Theater of Eternal Values. You know, it was a theater company for doing plays for Shri Mataji during the pujas, you know. And some people felt, why not turn this into a play, you know, for Mother, you know. So really, out of one memory of Mother, something useful came out. That there was no question of doing a TEV play about that book. In fact, that book was actually prohibited in Sahaj. And that Sahaja also didn't have to waste time investigating about the Da Vinci Code in any case. So this is just to accentuate the importance of each and every little memory that we still remember from Mother. They still have great usefulness sometimes. And it's interesting because much later, you know, Shri Mataji told me why she invited me to write down what she was saying. And that was a little test for me to be able to write down what Mother said afterwards, because Mother had told me to write about Saj Yoga. And I always felt I can't, you know, it's not possible. I cannot do it. My English is not good enough, you know, lack of confidence. But Mother knew that I wanted to write because I wanted to write even before Sahaj Yoga already. And so this was like a little exercise to boost my confidence that you can write. On another occasion, she also asked me to write a testimonial about Sahaj Yoga, you know, to say how much I benefited from Sahaj, me and my family, or to also give a testimonial about how other people have benefited so much, how Mother's helped and saved millions of people. So I thought this is quite a responsibility to write an article like that. And this was for the newspapers in India. And again, I said the same to Mother, I don't know what to write, Mother. And Mother dictated the whole article to me. And next day when I wrote it all came back to me word for word what Mother had said, you know, and certain things Mother didn't say fully, but told me some hints of how to say it or what to say. And at last I felt confidence. Maybe now I can write about Sahaj Yoga. I was not sure if it was perfect, but Mother said, don't worry, because the Indian Sahaj Yogis are going to translate it to Marathi, you know, so if the English is not perfect, what counts is if you manage to put those points across that I told you, you know, it's all there, Mother checked the vibrations, that's fine. This was one, at last, I felt confidence I could write about Sahaj Yoga, as Mother had told me to write. And at the same time, I was reading a book which was written about false gurus. So I thought, interesting, let's read this book about denouncing the false gurus. This is interesting. As it turns out, this writer, he was denouncing false gurus, no doubt, but he was also writing against God. He was writing against Christ again. He was writing against Moses, against Abraham, against Sri Krishna, against Sri Ganesha, everything, you know. He didn't spare anyone. This was not a genuine book against false gurus. The man writing it, he himself was a false guru. And then I noticed, oh my God, now he's criticizing Mother too. He said these vibrations of this lady Nirmala Devi, this is not genuine. This is not scientifically proved, this, that. So I felt, I underlined those sentences in red, you know, and took the book to Mother. So I asked Mother, do you know about this man? You know, this guy is appalling. And I said, do I know about this man? I said, but this is the man, this is the guru, this is the one whose disciples are writing articles against Sahaj Yoga in Maharashtra. It is also the man whose disciples were throwing the stones at the Sahaj Yogis, you know. So very serious incident this man had caused indirectly. And then Mother told me about him. This man, he says that he only believes in rationality and in science and in the facts, nothing to do with, he was against superstition, he said, you know, but really, he was just totally anti-God, you know, and he didn't understand anything. And that's when Mother said, look, I told you to write about Sahaj Yoga, and here's a good subject for you to write about. Write about William Blake, because William Blake spent his whole life writing against rationality, against intellectuals, against these so-called mundane philosophers who don't have any respect for God. This is what Blake fought all his life. So since I asked you to write about Saj Yoga, this is a good subject for you to write. And by then my confidence at last was a little bit boosted. So Mother helped me a lot in being able to write a little bit about William Blake. So when people ask me, what is the essence of what Mother told you about William Blake, what I've just said, this is, I believe, the essence, that the most important thing about William Blake is to go beyond the mind, is to go into thoughtless awareness, to go into deeper meditation, and to put aside, this temptation of analyzing everything or understanding everything rationally, because we don't, without vibrations, we don't understand anything. And especially Blake is about vibrations. It's about going beyond the brain, going to a very deep state of meditation. And it's actually a great prophet of Saj Yoga. Mother also explained that to everybody. This has been explained by Mother hundreds of times, in fact. William Blake also made some paintings of Mary Magdalene. And if you look at them, there's one, in the olden days, people used to think that certain ladies there in the Bible, it's always Mary Magdalene. Nowadays, the scholars are saying that there's more than one woman, in fact, in the Gospels. Not all of them are the Mary Magdalene, but even the woman, there's that parable of the woman taken in adultery, was caught in adultery, and then Christ came and defended her and said, let the one who is without sin throw the first stone. And William Blake did a beautiful painting of this incident, where Christ is actually defending the woman taken in adultery, or we could say this is Mary Magdalene. Sometimes Shri Mataji calls this woman actually Mary Magdalene in her talks, because Mother talks about this. And she says, there's no relationship whatsoever between Christ and Mary Magdalene. Mother has explained this so many times. But Blake gave such a pure painting of Mary Magdalene, in which she describes her just like Mother described, because Mother described Mary Magdalene as someone that Christ removed all the sins from her, removed everything, and she was just absolutely pure and beautiful. That's the state in which he left her, of course, with these powers. But that's just a disciple. It's an absolutely pure relationship. There's another painting that William Blake did of Mary Magdalene again, which is Christ interceding on behalf of Mary Magdalene. This is one of the most beautiful paintings Blake did. God is sitting in judgment, and then you have Christ in the middle defending Mary Magdalene again, and then Magdalene is there like a great devotee of God, bowing down, It's everybody says this is one of the most beautiful paintings of William Blake that he made of Mary Magdalene, and it really describes Saj Yoga. Everything Mother says, you can see sometimes a reflection on his paintings, because he was such a great prophet of Sahaj. But there are the things Shri Mataji told me about William Blake. I don't know why, but partly because I was living at Shalsham Road, and Shalsham Road is such an important place for William Blake. He prophesied about Shalsham Road. Also, before coming to Sahaj, already I was very interested in William Blake for the last 2 years before coming to Sahaj. And I felt at the time William Blake helped me a lot in my seeking when I found him. Same time, I also found the photo of Shri Mataji. Not Mother in person, at least I found the photo of Shri Mataji for 2 years before meeting Mother. So I had the photo, I had William Blake, and this was helping me a lot. So I had a certain strong feeling about William Blake, and wrote a little something about William Blake once or twice, and Mother said she liked that. So it's all this together, all these circumstances put together may justify or explain why Mother asked me to write about William Blake. And I was someone who felt very unprepared for that, really very unprepared, not able to do it easily. But gradually Mother gave that power somehow. And there was some great miracle. We discovered the location of the grave of William Blake with Mother's help. And so it all started. We had to write about that in order to be able to mark the location of Blake's grave. This is something Mother had said that needed to be done. The grave of William Blake was not properly respected. So it was necessary to do something nice for the grave of William Blake. And I don't know, we were so lucky. It happened to us. We were able to rediscover that location. And there was no way out. Now we really have to write about William Blake in order to write a study about this, the location of William Blake, to help create a certain interest about it. And we ended up going to BBC. We were invited by BBC to give a program about the location of the graves of William Blake and his wife. So it took many years of Mother somehow supporting me and giving me the confidence to be able to do this. And but Mother taught me other things about William Blake. I remember one very important occasion, and this is very easy to share with everybody. We were at Mother's house. I remember I was doing a little bit of painting of gilding, something very simple. There was also a friend, Sergio, visiting England. He didn't live here, and he was also doing a bit of gilding with me. Other people doing other jobs, sometimes much bigger jobs, plastering or cement or drilling, carpentry, big jobs, And so the message came, Mother will now speak to all of you, so come to the sitting room, So we went immediately. We were doing a very easy job, not very dirty. We didn't have to change clothes or even wash our hands. So we went immediately and we sat there. And Mother said, we won't start until the others arrive. We'll wait for them, So we're sitting in silence there in front of Mother. Mother was sitting down. And what a bliss just to be there. And then the friend Sergio, he says, Mother, on your coffee table, that's a book of William Blake, isn't it? Can I look at it? And Mother said, of course you can, but I tell you what, good idea. I'm going to show you this book to everybody. Let's wait until the others arrive. They're coming soon. They have to change clothes or wash their hands from other building jobs or big gloss paint, maybe, God knows. And gradually they were coming one by one. And Mother is looking at the book of William Blake, the paintings. And every time Mother looked at the painting, her face changed, transformed, and she was just doing sounds like, wow, 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 fantastic, incredible, amazing. And she kept going through the paintings of William Blake, page by page. And every time, sometimes Mother put the eyes very close to the painting, at times very far away. But all the time she was saying, what's wonderful, really wonderful, wow, 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 incredible. And then at last everybody arrived. And then Mother started showing the book to us. And when she turned, she would look at the painting, then she would show it to us. And the moment she showed it to us, it was like a big wave of vibrations was coming to us. Really, really big wave. A bit like when that box of shoes of Mother was open. Tremendous, incredible. It was putting us in meditation. Just the vibrations coming from Mother's book. Of course, Mother is holding the book in her hands, and Mother looked into it. So now the effect is so powerful. Automatically, we all said, as soon as we saw the painting ourselves, wow, 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 amazing, incredible. The waves of vibrations, we could feel it. And Mother was saying, yes, 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 enjoy the vibrations, enjoy the vibrations. And then having shown the painting, she would show us, can you see here the chakras? See, these are the chakras. Oh, yes, yes, you can see it, Mother. Can you see the hands above the sahasrara? Oh, yes, yes. Look at this painting, the other painting, next painting. Can you see this? The hands feeling the vibrations, see? It's about Sahaja Yoga. Can you see the sahasrara chakra in this painting? Or look at the Agni chakra in this painting. The things Mother could see, Mother could see the whole thing about Sahaja Yoga in each and every painting. There was not a single painting that did not have such incredible elements about Sahaja Yoga there. So they were very powerful. All we had to do was to enjoy the vibrations. We didn't have to have tremendous scholarly knowledge of these paintings and understand everything like the scholars do. All we had to do was feel the vibrations. What a deep experience. Tremendous vibrations. And by the end of the book, even before Mother told us what are the chakras or there's an element of Sahaja, we're telling Mother, all of us, oh, look, Mother, I can see the 3 channels there. Oh, yes, yes, the 3 channels, yes. The chakras there, or a person feeling vibrations with the hands here or hands there, or big auras, And Mother showed tremendous appreciation for the paintings of Christ done by Blake. Mother was very, very appreciative of those paintings that, that William Blake made of Christ. And another thing was the paintings of the Virgin, or the Madonna and Child, the Virgin Mary with the baby Jesus. Mother liked those paintings a lot also that Blake did. Blake did a few of those that are amazing, really. And it's hard to find a person more enthusiastic about Blake than Shri Mataji. She has such tremendous love for William Blake. And William Blake suffered so much when he came on this earth. And Mother says sometimes on her talks, you can hear that Mother says that she cries, when she's reading about William Blake or seeing his paintings. Sometimes she cries because how much he suffered in that lifetime he had here, talking to people who couldn't understand anything. But he came to pave the way for Saj Yoga as a prophet of Saj Yoga, as a prophet of Shri Mataji. So what an important thing he did. Christ had many prophets too, and Mother had many prophets too, not just William Blake, but William Blake is one of those prophets that came and did a lot of work for Mother, for Saj Yoga, as a prophet of Saj Yoga, and Mother pays him such tremendous respect and love. It's even Christ sometimes, looking at his paintings or looking at his poetry. You will not find someone who loves Blake more than Mother, really. As if it's a child of Mother. In fact, he is a child of Mother. There's no doubt about it. On another occasion, because these are stories I did not manage to write down and send to Linda. I sent a few stories that Mother told me about Blake, but not those. And this one, one day, Mother took us to the Tate Gallery to see the paintings of William Blake. And it was incredible to see Mother there, because Mother saw each and every painting very carefully. She even read the curator notes on the wall, because sometimes there's a little explanation about the painting, sometimes not, but usually there is something. And Mother read those notes very carefully. She studied each and every painting carefully, but she did something extra. She put her hands towards the painting to check the vibrations. This is a bit strange because it is in public. There's many people there in the museum, and Mother is actually putting her hands towards the painting to feel the vibrations. And she told us to do the same. Can you check the vibrations of this painting? Isn't it amazing? What tremendous vibrations. In fact, the thing Mother said the most that day is tremendous vibrations, tremendous vibrations. Can you feel the vibrations of this painting of William Blake? Check the vibrations. Can you feel the vibrations? Tremendous vibrations. So when people ask me, what is the essence of what Mother told you about William Blake? I believe this is the essence, tremendous vibrations on the paintings. Check the vibrations, enjoy the vibrations, and feel the vibrations of those paintings. To me, this is the essence of what Mother told me about William Blake. Another thing Mother did at that museum was also quite interesting. At the very end of the exhibition, there was a cabinet with some very, very tiny engravings that William Blake made. And these are called the Virgil engravings, they're called. And we look at them and they don't mean anything. They're very tiny, black and white. And because they're inside the glass cabinet, at the bottom of that glass cabinet, they're very hard to see. But Shri Mataji was putting a face right against the glass of the cabinet to see those illustrations. And Mother saw each and every illustration of those tiny little ones, of the Virgil illustrations. There are even some great Blake scholars who absolutely admire Blake and like everything about Blake. They dedicate their lives to Blake, some scholars. And when it comes to these Virgil illustrations, some of them have said, these illustrations, the Virgil ones, they're a bit overrated, But not for Mother. They're not overrated at all. Mother liked them all. She saw each and every one. And she kept telling us, check the vibrations of these engravings, these little, tiny ones. Check these vibrations. This is amazing. These are extraordinary. Luckily for us, nowadays, some modern scholars have shown much more appreciation about these Virgil illustrations than some other earlier scholars had, And in fact, nowadays they've established that this was Blake's most influential work of his lifetime. There was no other work Blake did that influenced so many painters to follow that style. So Blake had there was a group of disciples, like they called themselves, like they were just like disciples of William Blake. They were painters also. And they had such admiration for William Blake. And for them, for that group of people, there was nothing Blake ever painted or engraved so great like these Virgil illustrations. So this is a type of knowledge that is only for Shri Mataji or great experts. And those group of people who call themselves the ancients, they understood something. And Mother proved them right by saying, this is absolutely extraordinary. And in fact, this inspired me to have another look at these illustrations one day. And once I had a chance to read the poem that the illustrations are illustrating, actually, it's a poem written by, very nicely written by an English poet. He translated from Latin to English. This is what Blake is illustrating. And you can see this is, the whole poem is about Sahaja Yoga, really, especially in the way that William Blake illustrated this. The whole story is about Sahaja Yoga. And as always, Blake is a Sahaja. Mother appreciates everything he does because it is actually about Sahaja Yoga. And it's quite easy for us to also do the same, go into meditation, enjoy those vibrations, and benefit as much as possible from that. And then one day, when new people ask us, what is this William Blake? Why is this so important? Where does it say that he's a prophet of Sahaja Yoga? Sometimes, new people will ask us that at the public program. It happened to me once, a new person, he knew a bit about William Blake, or quite a lot, in fact. And they said, where is it in William Blake? It says that he wrote that he prophesied about Sahaja Yoga. It's a bit embarrassing if you are not able to explain this to a new person even, because if they know Blake and Blake is so famous, they will ask, where is it? Where is that prophecy that William Blake gave about Sahaja Yoga? Where is it written? And in fact, actually, the answer is so simple. It's the easiest one to find because of everything Blake wrote. The most famous thing he wrote is the hymn called Jerusalem, and did those feet in ancient times. This is a very famous poem in 4 stanzas that Blake wrote. And at the end of this poem, there's a line of text where Blake wrote, would to God that all the Lord's people were prophets. So this is where William Blake prophesied that Sahaja Yogis would become prophets too, and with powers to make other prophets. Then people have a tendency to ask, but where is it that aspect Mother said of with powers to make other prophets? Because this is not written literally. Yes, this is the truth. It's not written literally, but that's the actual meaning if you do the correct interpretation. Because when Blake wrote, would to God that all the Lord's people were prophets, he also put the Bible quote is actually Numbers, the book of Numbers in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and the verse is verse 29. So, sorry? Chapter 11, sorry. Chapter 11 of the book of Numbers and verse 29. So if you care to go and read the book of Numbers in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in chapter 11, what do you have? You have a situation where Moses, he feels he cannot handle being the leader of all these people in the desert because they are complaining, they are moaning, they are groaning, they are complaining. And there was an incident. They started asking for better food and more food. And now they want to eat meat in the desert. And Moses got so upset that he went to God and said, I don't know if I can manage this on my own. If I had at least one more prophet to help me out here. And in the book of Numbers, God gives an answer. I will not give you just one more prophet or 3 or 7. I will give you 70 extra prophets if you need. So select the best 70 people that you admire and appreciate, the best elders, the most sensible people, bring them to the tent of the tabernacle, or now depending on translation of the Bible, you read the tent of meeting or bring them to the tabernacle. And then you put the spirit that is in you and you put the spirit into them. And then they shall prophesy and they will all become prophets. So this is a situation of collective self-realization en masse. This is about Sahaja Yoga. This is what Sahaja Yogis, even we Sahaja Yogis can do. We can also give self-realization en masse. We can take that spirit that is in us and pass it on to another person, like Moses did on that occasion, because he needed 70 extra prophets. And Moses did it, and Mother is telling us the truth. We can do the same. So we are also William Blake prophesied that this would happen in England, in Jerusalem, because this quote that William Blake gave us comes immediately after a big poem that he wrote, that hymn, which is about, that hymn, Jerusalem, is about building Jerusalem in England. This is about buildings, establishing Sahaj Yoga in England. And how do we do that? We do that by giving self-realization en masse, just like Moses did on that occasion. So Blake gave us the actual very precise quote of Book of Numbers, chapter 11, verse 29, because there was a little incident. William Blake had a disciple called Joshua, and Joshua came to report to Moses, look, out of those 70 people, 2 of them never came to the tent to receive the Spirit, So, but they have started to prophesy as well now. So we must stop them. That's what Joshua, the disciple of Moses, is telling Moses. Why don't you stop them? Because they did not appear in the tent at the right time to receive that. And yet they just caught it somehow. And they started to prophesy. And then Moses replies to Joshua, are you jealous on my behalf or what? Let them also become prophets. Would to God that all the Lord's people become prophets. So that's how this incident came about. And that's the whole total interpretation when you put the poem of that hymn, Jerusalem, together with this quote, together with this episode of from chapter 11 of book of Numbers, when Moses, protests to Joshua, are you jealous on my behalf or what? Moses doesn't want to be the only prophet. Moses wants more prophets. And he's even saying, would to God that all the Lord's people became prophets. And this is, according to Mother, where William Blake wrote that Saj Yogis would have powers to become prophets and would become prophets as prophesied by William Blake, and they would have powers to make other prophets too. So it's all there in writing. It is so very easy to find. If any new person asks us, where is it that Blake wrote that? It's very easy to find. And Shri Mataji said to us in a talk, so she said it more than once, what does it mean to be a prophet after all? In Sahaj Yoga, what does it mean to be a prophet? And then Shri Mataji answered the question. It's very simple. A prophet means a person who can feel the power of the all-pervading power of God in his hands. If you can feel the all-pervading power of God in your hands, then you are a prophet. That's what it means to be a prophet in Sahaj Yoga. And thanks to Shri Mataji, who gave us realization, we have all felt that power in our hands and above our heads, and we have all given the realization to other people en masse also, sometimes at public programs. So it is true, we have all become prophets as prophesied by William Blake, and at least according to the real meaning of the word prophet. Because even William Blake explained when people asked him, what is a prophet? He said a prophet is not a person who foresees the future. It has nothing to do with that. In fact, Blake says that there are no prophets in the modern sense of the word, because even the old prophets were not able to foresee the future totally yet. At least most of the times they didn't. They didn't know the future. They could not get it right also, the future. Because that's up to God. It's not about foreseeing the future. It's something else. And Blake explains this. Sometimes it is about feeling the truth in your heart and expressing it, to express the truth that is in your heart. That is more related to being a prophet than to foresee the future. It's not about seeing the future. But Mother gives a very special definition of a prophet that's the best one for us. We become prophets the moment we are able to feel the all-pervading power of God in our hands, which you all do thanks to Mother. We can feel it now coming from Mother's feet, coming from Mother's shoes, coming from Mother's photos, coming from Shri Mataji, coming even from the paintings of William Blake. We can even feel the vibrations coming from the poems of William Blake, in fact. So we are spoiled for choice. We can feel the vibrations coming from all the deities, from the Swayambhus, from everything. So Mother has proved this so well that there's just no room for doubt anymore. We have all achieved that state and we can share it with new people. I think that's more or less the things I wanted to share for today. And I apologize if it's not very clear. And thank you for your time and patience. Jai Shri Mataji.
Thank you, Luis. I'm just turn the recording off.